Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here in Utrecht. My homie just dropped me off, which is super clutch because it would have been really, really difficult to get all the way over here. I have no idea what's in there. I saw like one or two photos. My friend was like, "This is a cool spot. I think you might like," and he just dropped me off and went to work. So I am gonna see if I can fly my drone here, take some photos, and then I'm gonna walk around in there and take some photos with the OM3. I've been having a lot of fun with the 12 to 200, which is like 24 to 400, because of the range, especially in the morning when sunlight is not an issue. So I'm going to keep that one on for now. And yeah, I have my other two lenses and I'll experiment with those. And we shall see how things look like. The weather is absolutely amazing. Like it's perfect weather for me. It's a little bit chilly. There's some sun here and there. And yeah, let's see what we can do. Okay, I'm very, very caffeinated, so this is a good time to tell you about how this camera has been surprisingly such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful way to connect with people. Like, I actually did not think it would make that much of a difference. I don't think it's the most practical camera ever, but it is a fashion statement. I've had so many people just come up and talk to me just because of this camera. They're like, "Oh, what kind of camera is that? Is that a film camera?" And I'm like, "No, it's not, but it's really cool. Let me show you." And I think this is what fashion is. I had a very strange relationship with fashion, and I still do, because growing up, I always thought fashion is a way to show off and a way to kind of like just see what's trending and following it. But as I got a little more involved in the fashion industry, in the fashion world, and in New York specifically, I noticed that fashion can be a very, very powerful tool to communicate with the external world and express yourself in one of the fastest ways possible, especially in a city that is extremely crowded with like millions of people that walk past you and kind of emphasize your loneliness, if that makes sense, and then make you feel invisible because no one has time to just admire you or look at you or see who you are. So in a busy world where there's that many people, expressing yourself and communicating to the external world can be a very, very strategic and valuable tool, because what you're doing essentially is telling people who you are, and then the people who are similar to you are basically attracted to you, and you're communicating to them that you're compatible as humans. I've experienced this fashion phenomena firsthand. I usually opt for very minimalistic clothing. I have 16 of the exact same t-shirt, but I noticed something very interesting when I wear something like this that is made by a designer, that is made by an artist. And in the photography sense, I am expressing with this camera that I care about photography, that I'm passionate about photography, that I care about the aesthetics of my camera, that I might be interested in film photography, that I'm not just choosing a camera because it's the most highest megapixels ever, but I am a visual artist and I care about how things look. And I think a lot of photographers kind of forget about that. And a tool that looks better and is more attractive and is more aligned with something I like is more exciting to use. And yes, I am aware it's not practical and the grip is not that great, but that's how fashion is. It's not directly practical. Practical fashion means you're just wearing the most comfy clothes possible and you'll end up basically looking like me. Well, you don't see extravagant or fashionable people being practical. But in a sense, it is actually very practical if you think about it vaguely enough. What I mean by that is, if you're communicating to so many people at the same amount of time with a super quick, efficient way about who you are essentially attracting your people and building a community while you're walking around. And I know that sounds very extreme. It sounds like I'm just trying to say good things about this camera, but this is what I've noticed. I've met a couple of people already throughout this trip who came up to talk to me just because of this camera. And this is great for someone who is very unfashionable like myself, because I can express a lot of myself and also have a camera at the same time, just using this camera. And maybe one of those people who I met will hire me for something, or maybe they'll recommend me for something, and maybe that will open a lot of doors for me. So who knows? So in that sense, it is actually practical. A lot of people in business tell you it's not what you know, it is who you know, and your network is your net worth. And this is, in a way, a very practical way to network. And I don't want to simplify it in a sense that it is just that. It's a way to network and meet people and like capitalize on these connections and all that. But also in a human sense, I love talking to people who are interested in things that I'm interested in. So yeah, up to you how practical you think that is. It is not the biggest sensor. This is a 12 to 200, which is equivalent of 24 to 400, which gives me an insane range without looking like an insane sports wildlife lens that makes everyone look at me while I'm walking around and think I'm gonna take a picture of every pimple they have on their face, which is extremely practical and actually a lot of fun. And I love this range. This is one of my favorite ranges. I love zooming in. I love being able to get a wider shot and then zooming in on the details and getting all these intricate little things. Yeah, and also the size of the entire camera is a little bit smaller than a full frame. Like, I actually didn't realize it. Like, I didn't notice it that much at first, but then when I went back to my full frame camera with an almost exact same setup, that felt a lot bigger and more professional / intimidating to others. So the way you approach people also affects how the pictures turn out. If I'm approaching someone and they're like, oh, this is a really cool camera, please, yeah, go ahead, take a photo, it's very different than like, oh my God, what are you going to do with this photo? Where are you going to post this? And can you see every single pore on my nose? You guys can check out the photos and let me know if you have any questions. Always remember that at the end of the day, it's how you use it. Peace. If you're curious about how I actually travel and how I save money and how I went to Switzerland for $37, if you want to see more of my equipment and gear that I use to record and capture footage, check out this one.